Hi everyone, I'm Amanda Brock and I'm the CEO at Open UK. I'm here today in Dublin with Open UK's sustainability stand. We work on open technology for sustainability and we've been doing that since COP26. I'm lucky to be here with Ross Mauri today in Dublin. Ross, welcome.
Thanks, Amanda. Great to talk to you again.
So Ross, one of the things I was really interested about today was the stance that IBM is taking on sustainability. Can you tell me a bit more about what's driving that and what you're doing?
I'd love to, Amanda, because I think sustainability in the environment is something that's in our blood and in our genes in IBM. I mean, I've been in IBM for 40 years, and ever since I joined in 1980, before that, IBM had an environmental policy and drove what we now call sustainability. Both working on things to reduce IBM's use of electricity, reduction of waste in many different facets, in factories, in office buildings. We've been driving that down, but also to create products that when used by our clients could help them with their environmental impact. And so for me, this is natural. For my team, this is natural. And I'm really glad that we've now got organizations like the one that you lead to really heighten that awareness and drive it at a country level.
Yeah. So what I find interesting in what you've just said is that you're looking at emissions across scopes 1 to 3. You're not just looking at what you do yourselves, but also at your supply chain.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have many programs internally, and we have some pretty big goals, of which one of them comes in 2030, where we go to basically net zero footprint. We're 65% of the way there, is what the latest report was, so we're well on our way towards that. So again, we have some big internal goals, but again, for me, I love that my products can really help change our clients' view and reality of the sustainability of their companies.
Absolutely, and that's a big net zero goal for 2030 for IBM. But tell me a bit about those products you mentioned.
Right. So, like the LinuxOne Emperor 4 server that we've announced recently, what we do with that is we look at it from the design of it to work in the smallest electrical envelope. So the consumption of electricity by the server, we try to minimize that by having all types of technology inside that meters and manages and monitors the energy, and also the design of the circuits are done in a very efficient way. So that's the product. But then you talk about supply chain. So we're looking at continually improving our use of reusable materials. We're also looking at our packaging to make sure that none of it is really disposable, or when it does get disposed of, it has to just go into a landfill forever, right? So we're looking at that. And then throughout our supply chain with our vendors, we're looking at what their goals are and what they're doing. So yeah, we're trying to take it across all 3 levels of sustainability.
No, that's impressive. Most organizations focus on scope 1 and 2 and don't get as far as scope 3. And I know that you're talking there about metrics and measures, and we've talked before about the case study this morning with Citi. I'm curious about the metrics and measures in ESG. How is that working in the financial sector?
So in the financial sector in general, they obviously have large data centers to support their large banking workloads and millions of customers that these banks have. And the data centers consume a significant amount of electricity. So we're working with Citi and with other large financial institutions to reduce the need and actually reduce the consumption of electricity in their data centers, and also then that reflects in what their carbon emissions footprint will be for the year. So we're working on both of those dimensions, and we're going to make material impact because our solutions that we have, compared to what the systems that they use today, can reduce their electrical consumption by 75%. I mean, that's a very significant step. And we measure things very fine-grainedly, and I tell you, our customers do as well. They want to actually see material results, and we always have to prove ourselves, so it's not just talk, it's actually put into action.
And you're looking at economics there, we've been looking at societal value metrics. And that sort of makes me think about the blueprints that Open UK is delivering. We delivered one last year, funnily enough, on data centers for COP26. For COP27, we're working on one for EV charging and sort of aggregating those open technologies together. Data centers must be a big focus. I mean, the emissions, and we're here in Ireland where I think they're in the process of tightening up the laws, perhaps even banning the build of new data centers.
I think that data centers in general consume significant electricity.
Yeah.
On the average, 200 to 250 terawatts per year. I mean, that's a large country, right? Per data center.
Absolutely.
That's a lot. And so I think, again, government regulation will help.
Yeah.
I think good-minded companies like Citi and IBM working together, working with the open community to do this in partnership. I think all of us working together can drive electrical need and consumption down. And I think there's a mandate there. I think we have to.
Absolutely, and I think that elevated role for open technology is exactly what we were talking about last year at COP26. We need to see not just the technologies being rolled out on a more scale and people understanding the value of products like LinuxOne, but also collaboration and what the open communities bring to that. It's difficult to learn to collaborate. It's taken all of us decades, right? We've been on a long journey, but we can do it now. And I think we need to share that more with those communities. So with LinuxOne, how does that actually work? How does it impact this space?
So the design of the system is what we call a scale up, scale out system.
Right.
Most systems are scale out.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is designed to scale up, but with virtualization technology that's built in, it can be managed as thousands of little independent virtual servers, thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
Right? And so by having a scale up system can be more in control of its electrical consumption, turning things on and turning things off when needed.
Yeah.
So it's actually in the design of the circuits and in the microcoded firmware that run the system. So we build it that way, and again, we call it a scale-up system that you can scale out on. So the Citi example was they're taking many servers that are all distributed today, and they're going to put them onto a very small number of these LinuxOne systems, and they did do that, and they get this enormous savings, but you heard there was other benefits.
Absolutely.
I mean, there were performance benefits and security benefits, but I can tell you the sustainability benefits were really what tipped things in our favor for sure.
And that's really interesting to see. And when we talk about sustainability, sometimes it confuses people because we're not just talking about environmental, we're not just talking about climate change and net zero. We talk about the Sustainable Development Goals and that bigger picture, the 17 SDGs. And I think that gets us into the sort of economics of energy. You know, we're living in a difficult time. I heard you mention this on the stage. People are going to struggle to pay their power bills. Is there a way that this is actually going to help that ecosystem?
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get industries to move.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. So we have to get them to move from their infrastructure today to a much more sustainable and economic infrastructure for the future. And again, Citi is a leader in financial services and is already well on their way, but we have to get the banks and governments and large corporations of the world to all move in this direction. And I think over the next several years, we can make a significant difference. And again, right now, like in Europe, well, there is going to be an energy crisis.
Yeah, there is.
There are things that people can do quickly.
Yeah.
But, you know, everyone has to act.
Yeah, so our focus is on sustainability, but this year it's been on skills, sustainability and security. Is there a broader value, a broader benefit that I've not asked you about because I've focused on sustainability today?
Well, when you say security, I think the privacy of information, whether it's my personal information or health-related information or my banking information or whatever it is, I think that, like water, I mean, everyone should have access to clean water.
Absolutely.
Everyone's data should be guaranteed to be private. And so that's an aspect that we also built into our systems. We have this confidential computing environment that will basically not allow any external or insider threat to get to your data if it's on this system. All right? Whether the data is in flight, in use, or at rest, as we say. There's 3 ways that data can exist. And so by protecting that data, again, back to some, I think, more human elements about the privacy.
Absolutely.
I want privacy of my data. I don't want to share everything with the world. And obviously, corporations, banks are under federal regulation. There's EU regulation around the privacy of data, GDPR, right? Great regulations.
Of course.
But you have to have systems that can,
Yeah.
in a foolproof way, implement that. And that's another key aspect of our system.
Absolutely, and working on that privacy by design, security by design, I hope that we'll see more and more sustainability by design too, and certainly it seems to be what IBM's doing here today.
Absolutely, we've been doing it for a while and we're going to continue to do it, for sure.
Ross, thank you very much. It's been great to talk to you today. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Amanda.